disappears when you start the self-inquiry. Well, we are in foolishness and anxiety, and you start inquiring, mind becomes clear, it is gone. You are criticizing someone, and the same guy is praising and appreciating you. You overheard it, where your hatred goes away. So the master says, that is why the master says it is a delusion that does not exist. It appears to exist, but it does not exist. My ego appears to exist. Oh, look at this, how much I have. But fact is that it does not exist. If you remember this all the time, you'll have a smile all the time in your life. All the time. Mind withdraws inside. I have referred Kabir, who is a Rumi of India, who used to say, Man Maya ek hai, Maya man hi samay, teen lok sanshay pada, kahe kahun samjhay. That is the entire journey of hammering the delusion. Literal translation is, mind and the delusion, man maya ek hai, maya man hi samay. Mind and the delusion are one. The very delusion dissolves into the mind. How to make people understand? This is what he was saying in a poem. How to make people understand? No, I don't like you, I hate you. That trigger is there. And when the triggers come down, you realize you are happy now after the trigger. You are happy after the trigger of the ego, after the trigger of the foolishness. That is the first step. So just find out after the trigger of scattered mind, after the trigger of attachment, emotional dependence, ego intellectual paralysis, and constantly changing desires. Think. If you do the self-inquiry, you find, oh, the delusion is not there. That is the beauty. That is the wisdom, and that is the knowledge Eastern wisdom is bringing for us. Means I have an emotional dependence on anything in the world outside, Terry, including the body. Now, we all have a body. Only Terry does not have a body. But I'm just explaining. So you see that the moment so first the object, people, relations outside, and then come to this body is also outside. Mind is also outside. Thoughts are outside. Intellect is outside. Ego is outside. If they are not outside, what happens in deep sleep? Do you still remember anything? Look at it. My friends, you have to contemplate and reflect on it all the time. And then what happens? That is why the master says, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam. Remember the real self. Recognize that there is a real self which transcends all the world of name and the form and situation. A child, maybe 5 years old, goes out to play, and he hurt his knee, blood is coming out. As long as the mother does not say the blood is coming out, oh, what happened? This is so serious. And then only the child starts crying. When I recognize that there is a problem, we all have an experience. Remember, मन माया एक है, माया मन ही समाए, तीन लोक संशय पड़ा. Rumi of India says that what to do with the people who do not understand why there is a doubt about the delusion. Why there is a doubt about the delusion. So when we talk of this foolishness, it is unexamined life. I do not examine it. It is an animal life. Yeah, Saturday's session, I said we are little below the God and we are little above the animals. Little, only little difference. So if you patch up that difference, we work through the animal mind. That is why we play with our pets when we see their foolishness. There is a glass door and they are running and they hit it. We don't hit it. Look at it. Look at it every point in our life. So the delusion does not exist. It appears to exist. Rainbow appears to exist. Mirage appears to exist. Husband and a wife, daughter and a son, these labels appear to exist, but we all are human beings. There is no problem between the man and the women. There is always a problem between the husband, wife, son, and daughter. That is why you see that your friend says you both are wonderful. Why you have a problem? Because he perceives through a different lens, and I perceive through a different lens. See, we are going deeper, 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 deeper. We are coming closer to ourselves through the self-inquiry. So you look at this foolishness, and because of that foolishness, we have a scattered mind, wandering mind. Third factor is the attachment. Fourth factor is the emotional dependence. You check it. Why a particular thought is being repeated by your mind? A thought being repeated, which is associated with the emotions, any thought. It may pertain to the car or a relationship or a tea. Oh, I didn't get this tea, that is my favorite tea. Yes, you should have a favorite tea, but it should not repeat in your mind. Does the tea repeat that you are my favorite? That is how we have to inquire. That is the self-inquiry. Does the car repeat, oh, I'm missing you? You didn't drive. Does the house says? No one says, I tell you. Including the human being. Everyone is busy in themselves. Everyone is busy. Fact is this. Even the honey you love, I'm sorry to say, we are awfully busy with our own thoughts. And it is caused by the delusion. And when those thoughts are gone, now you are ready to express your peace and happiness to everyone in the world. Otherwise, we are so much obsessed with ourselves. And that is a finer ego, very finer ego. We don't see that because that is a finer ego which is associated with lot of thoughts about me and mine, and I'm already lost into that. And when someone talks to me outside, that from being lost I come out, but I always have those impressions, and that causes the problem. And that is what the seventh factor, the mind is constantly changing the desire because of the small ego. It is in a very subtle form. But again, remember one thing. Today's topic I am focused on. They appears to exist, but when you inquire, they are dissolved. Mirage appears to exist, but when you examine, you go near to it. So self-inquiry is going very near to the point of a delusion, examining it, and you will find there is nothing in it. You are free. In delusion, another word of the delusion is also the illusion. You might have heard the word in Eastern wisdom is Maya. Where it leaves you at calmness and peace. Why? Because the delusion does not exist. Simple. So through the self-inquiry, I have to reach to a point where I see the delusion does not exist. Now see, delusion does not exist, then what happens? What I did through the self-inquiry. I did not fight with the delusion. I challenged the false assumption and the wrong notions in my life through the self-inquiry, through the thinking process. Oh, he said me, oh, he told me that yeah, I'm crazy. I don't want to talk. So let us examine that thought. My master used to say the word crazy is written in the book, in the Google, everywhere. Does it affect you? No, it does not affect me. So what affects me? My interpretation of the word craziness. You told me crazy. You are so nice. I love you so much. And you told me? That is my interpretation. You cannot close my mouth. I can say anything. You see? So you see what is the emotional dependence? Do you see? My interpretation about you. You have been so close and you are abusing me. This interpretation is causing the problem. So now this interpretation is gone. You recognize your false notion. You recognize the foolishness. You recognize that emotional dependence. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Very good. That delusion is gone. And where it is gone? My master says it does not. Every master says it does not exist. That is why, for the sake of understanding, we say it is gone. It dissolves. Anything that does not exist has no value. By the 7 factors, we give value to this. That is why I explained you another way to put it. Understand it. Another way to put it. Before the beginning of a session internally, I was just reflecting that let the master speak through me. And this idea came to me. So you don't own responsibility even what you are coming out with this knowledge. You become an instrument. So that is the secret of the remedial steps. That is what the satsang is. So that is how it happens. It changes your perception completely when you do the satsang. Satsang means listening and learning, and gradually you realize, oh, there is no, as such, there is no attachment. Attachment is a fancy. Attachment is an imagination. It is an imagined thought. I can bet you. Find out emotional dependence. It is an imagined thought. Imagined emotion with the thought. Imagined thought is the foolishness. Scattered mind. Then what happens? The third remedy, we recognize that, oh, let me again do the discernment and dispassion and see that how can I move from the ignorance to the wisdom here and now. Whether you have an extreme pain, you are hungry, calm down. You see that hunger is in the body, hunger is not in you. That is a very higher level of discernment. So now you know the basic need of the body, but you are not disturbed. That is what the penance is. That is what the austerity is. Austerity is not that, we do it, detox for about a week. Yes, do the detoxing. That's good for the body. But it has nothing to do with the mind. We say fasting and other stuff. No, I only take lemon water. Whether you take lemon water or sugar water, it doesn't make any difference. Provided if you are not attached. We are only talking of the delusion. We are not talking of the physical health at this time. That needs to be understood. That I have to prick where the delusion is in my life, in my personal life, in my professional life, in my social life. And then you see, you wake up in the morning with calmness and peace. You sleep in calmness and peace, in spite of the challenges that you have in your personal or professional life. That is the entire understanding of hammering the delusion. And what happens? I told you, fifth step. Then I recognize this is the way to work on the mind. Oh, I work on the mind? Now the mind is not working on me, and I am free from the delusion. But that is not the end of the story. We continue the journey with different realization. Why the realization is important? Why the realization is important? Because now the mind settles in the knowledge. That is what the realization. Both mind settles in the knowledge plus experience. You did the self-inquiry, for example, with a particular label, and your emotional dependence dissolved, ego dissolved, you find calmness, you did it again, then mind says, now I will follow this path. It cannot happen in a day. If you have done once, it cannot happen. You are hungry, you eat and your hunger is gone. No, that is not the way. That is a physical aspect and it is the mental and the emotional. I have to repeat it. Oh, let me find out where is the second delusion, where is the third delusion. So the master has found out that don't forget one thing. Bhaj Govindam, Govindam bhaj murdhamate. Oh foolish mind, remember, recognize. What recognize? The peace and happiness is already there in me. Why you are running? Why you have a scattered mind? Why you have an ego? Why you want to have a big ego? Because of the peace and happiness. But peace and happiness is there already. Before the recognition of an ego. That is the message. The message is very subtle. That is how we reach to this stage. So first realization is the mind lives in wisdom. Mind lives in wisdom means what? Now analyze how many of the seven factors have gone when the mind lives in wisdom. That is the realization. Think of this. All the principles are already there in the text, in the books. But the teacher only facilitates to help you that as such delusion does not exist. What exists is the peace and happiness. Through different examples, facilitation is there. And the teacher wants you to communicate with the seeker at the higher level of awareness, not at the physical, mental, and the emotional. That is what we see the spiritual level. So you see, when the mind lives in wisdom, instantly you can find out then there should not be an emotional dependence. Oh yes, there's no emotion. Should not be any foolishness. Mind lives in wisdom, so wisdom is against the ego. Intellectual paralysis, wisdom, and intellectual paralysis are opposite. You can analyze all the seven factors when we get that realization in every situation. I give you an example. I went to two dealers. Price difference of the same car is $7,000. So should I fight with the one who quoted me $7,000? No, that's not my job. I recognize that. That's okay. I will not go there. Now apply the same. Someone has said you something, calm down. Don't give wrong interpretation. Second realization, we have understood how the seven factors of the body makes us crazy. Means body identification. I become the body, then only I can claim that I am a teacher or a student. So I'm going too far. First, I am the real self, there is no problem. Then I become the body, the first level of delusion. Once I am the body, then I am the husband and daughter, son, teacher, other label rich or poor, whatever you say. That is the secondary, third level. It is too far, but they do not exist. We need constant self-inquiry. We are in the mode of, I feel bored about doing a self-inquiry. That is your foolishness. Because you want to move down into the intellectual paralysis. We want to behave like an animal mind. Intellect is always available to us. Choice is always available to the human being. Do you see that? As a human being, it is always available to us. Some people told me, I feel too bored, when I do the self-inquiry. I said, what it takes you to do the self-inquiry? You feel bored about it. I find people with a different understanding. The guy, I told you the story, he said, I gave 200% to this girl. He told me. So I reminded him yesterday, day before yesterday. Now, what happened to your 200%? He instantly said it was an emotional dependence, and he smiled. There is no delusion at all. Delusion does not exist. I have to recognize this. That very recognition is Bhaj Govindam Ashok. हाथ जोड़ के बैठे रहो, उससे नहीं होगा. I have to inquire. So the third realization, outer changes not required until inner change in the mental attitude is changed. Now, this realization, compare it with the seven factors. I have a big ego, so I have to show, I have to demonstrate. What is realization? Outer change is not required. Look at it. You have to inquire like this. I'm just giving you an understanding, an idea. You pick up any of the seven factors. Why I become fool? Because I want to present something that I don't have. There is an inner conflict, and I'm not aware. But when I'm aware, the mind is living in the wisdom, and then I know outer changes is not required. Intellectual paralysis also takes place because I force myself to show something outside which I am not. And there is a struggle between the two ego. One ego says, I don't have this. The other ego says, no, then show it. Both are ego. Do you see that? No, I'm not. I'm a very humble person. And then the guy says, you're really humble. I heard you that we are very humble. Second time he says. Third time he says, and the guy gets excited, I told you that I'm very humble. Now the duality has, all the conflict has come out. One of the 7 factors, you see. I think you all understand. So what the master is asking, that should be an inner change in the mind. The mind first change itself inside before it changes outside. And when the inner change in the mind is there, your thought will be like this. Your feeling will be like this. Your attitude will be like this. So that feeling, that attitude, that thought will translate into behavior, and the behavior will translate into action. I'm not talking here, but this is what the karma yoga is. People have, our masters have explained differently. This is the journey of the karma yoga. So when we start talking of the karma yoga, we directly talk of the action, what action you have taken. And then we say, what was your attitude inside? So we don't talk of the delusion there. We talk of that, what is the mental state you have? So every master has their own interpretation, but ultimately they reach to the same goal. My inner attitudes, for example, our inner attitude, that we all are human beings, and because we are human beings, so we should always express our thought, speech, and action in peace and happiness. Finished. You're out of the delusion. You make it sure. But if you don't recognize that the delusion does not exist, you have to prove that it does not exist in your life. One guy started saying, you see, my parents are living in delusion. I said, I'm not teaching your parents, I'm teaching you. That is another problem. No, from where the problem comes, now you can recognize intellectual paralysis. Now I have an ego. Look at this, my parents are so crazy. They are not attending these lessons. I have told them a couple of times. So you are attending this session, and this is the result. This is no. You see, there may be many deviations, distractions. That is why you have to be with the teacher until the mind says, I'm living in wisdom. There is no way this delusion can take over me. Why? Journey of the Eastern wisdom is a self-discovery. It is not the others' discovery. When you do the others' discovery, you become judgmental. And you are already in delusion. How can you be a judgmental of the others? Then what should you do? Listen to the teacher. Listen to these principles. Listen to it again and again until the mind becomes clear. That is why my master used to say, close your eyes. The eyes are closed. Eyes are closed. You know that you're comfortable. That is, you are pricking the elements of the delusion at the experiential level in the body. Can I say that is being comfortable? That is another interpretation. You see, once your mind is free, I can bet you will also have the same revelations in your mind, or both the minds are the same. You're comfortable and carefree. Every time you'll have a new interpretation. Why? Because your mind is living in wisdom. I'm not explaining what is being comfortable and what is being carefree. सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु. What a great thing. I remember the one master gives the interpretation that this mind has a two flow like a river. One is a natural flow, upside down, and the other is the opposite flow. Due to the storm and tsunami and hurricane, etc. That hurricane is delusion. So, what we are offering to the mind, may there be happiness for all. That is a natural flow. You are by default living in a higher consciousness when the happiness flows out of you, peace flows out of you, calmness flows out of you. Think. I am not saying believe. I am not saying just follow. We are not followers, we are seekers of the truth. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Even you continue reciting this mantra throughout the day mentally. Will you not be able to give a direction to the mind? Will you not be able to control the distractions of the mind and the foolishness? The answer is yes. Peace, may there be peace for all. It is the mind that is deluded, which is seeking, which has an expectation from the others. That is why first delusion, and then we say, you are not making me happy. You have to give a right interpretation of these principles in order to go deeper. Now the time has come to go deeper. You need to stand on your own. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. May there be completeness in all. Now, if you examine the seven factors, it prompts you, it makes you realize that as if you are missing something, you are not complete in yourself. Any thought, you pick up all the seven factors. May there be completeness in all. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. May there be auspiciousness for all. Why we say auspiciousness? In the absence of the delusion, there is only auspiciousness. There is always a blessing. What is the blessing? You have challenge and your mind is living in the wisdom. It says, let me solve this challenge. But if we have an intellectual paralysis, it is not possible. If we have an ego, it is not possible. Why? The ego moves in a lopsided manner with an obsession to something. So, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. So once we check here, you check your own state of the mind. The mental attitude should change. But it is not, it is early until we dig out all the past impressions that bury deep inside our head. We don't plan to be angry at a particular time or agitated at a particular time. It happens. So that happening is caused by the impressions that is already present inside my head, inside in the mind. For that we need the purification of the mind. You are looking inside the forehead in the space, and looking inside the forehead in the space, and Om Shanti. Just check it how you are dropping Om Shanti, my friends. Is it gentle? It is soft? It is out of love? Yes. And then you start breathing quick and short breath into the rib cage. Just continue breathing. Gentle breathing, short expansion and contraction of the rib cage, point of awareness. Stillness in the body, point of awareness. Dropping Om Shanti, point of awareness. Breathing short and gentle, point of awareness. And also you are aware of the external noises in the surrounding. Why you are aware? Because it will not create any challenge to you. And also check the position of the body keeps on changing. Don't show that you are feeling sleepy and you are doing it. Don't move your body. Don't scratch. Tell your mind, I have a lot of time to scratch after the practice. So you live into that state of awareness and you are doing it. Continue doing it. Just continuously. And it's not a big deal. We have been doing it. We have done for 6 minutes on one day only, not every day. Any resistance, endure it. I told you, recognize the new experiences and accept it. You get a natural focus simply by breathing. You see that? Because mind is absorbed there. But if the mind is distracted, means what? You return again. You will discover as you continue your breathing, your obstructions in the nostril also are removed. And you have a free flow even with short and the gentle breath. That is the finer step. Mind does not play with you, you play with the mind. Mind keep on doing the breathing. Continue. If there any resistance, you endure it, and means you become aware and then you keep on doing it. Mind will find hundreds of excuses not to do it. It is because of the impressions already present in deep inside. Continue. Continue. And stop this. Pay attention to the flow of the breath. Recognize and accept the changes you are experiencing at present. Today we have crossed the threshold limit of 9 minutes in the chest breathing. You are aware of the flow of the breath, and majority of you will find the flow of the breath becomes equal, or if it is not equal, you pay attention to the nostril where you have a less flow and enjoy that state. And now looking inside the forehead again, Om Shanti, and start the belly breathing. Belly breathing is little longer. You experience the expansion and the contraction of the belly. Otherwise, the body remain in the state of steadiness. Longer breath into the belly. Also pay attention. With every inhalation, the belly expands like a balloon. With every exhalation, the belly contracts like a balloon. It touches the spine. Longer breath into the belly. Om Shanti continues. Stillness in the body continues. You will see that if your mind has a lot of challenges today, the mind will move the body, will continue to scratch. So we have to be aware of that. Don't worry about if it happens, but remember this. This is what happened today. And if it is not happening, it is wonderful. And stop this breathing. Allow the breath to be normal. Pay attention to the flow of the breath in the state of stillness in the body, and you'll have other experiences inside your head and outside, kind of blankness or emptiness or calmness. They are already there. If you have done correctly the first breathing 9 minutes. You're just watching the flow of the breath. You see how smoothly we transition from one step to the other. A smooth transition from step by step. So, what is left is the real self. Now, 16 segments of the fingers you are dropping. Om Shanti, not touching physically the fingers, but mentally you are touching the one segment. You are saying it mentally, Om Shanti. You are listening that Om Shanti. Everything is happening in the mind. So do you see that is the withdrawal of the sense organs into the mind. Normally we understand it philosophically. Here you are doing it and experiencing it. Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Every segment, you may say Om Shanti, and then your mind's eye, mind's ear, mind's touch, mind's speech. It is the mind. So these subtle, the sense organs can function at a very subtler level. That is why we say, even with eyes closed, I say, look here. Let the mind touch. You do not touch, no physical movement. Why? To experience some deeper layers of our consciousness. Physical is one, subtle is the second, and third is the spiritual. This is another education to the mind. To see and experience, can the mind function at the subtler level without the help of the sense organs? And the answer is yes for a seeker. Mind plus the world is equal to perception plus projection is delusion. And now what happens? The mind is living inside at a subtler level. So we bypass all those challenges caused by the mind due to the delusion. And then the last step we have a sense of freedom. And now leave this step also. Move the mind inside the cave of your heart, equilateral triangle pointing upward. Moving the mind on the side of a triangle, dropping Om Shanti, aware of the side, clockwise and anti-clockwise. And once you find this kind of a sync, that is the time singing loudly in your mind, Om, pushing the mind deep inside the cave forward, deep inside the heart. And there you recognize mind seemingly stops. You simply say Shanti and you are absorbed. You need not to do anything. But if the thought returns again, it distracts you. Then only you can return to the triangle and sync. Otherwise, thought may be there too far. Thoughts are too far not disturbing you. You are still self absorbed. There is also a self absorption. But if it disturbs, then only you can return to the triangle. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. We will share our experiences. And if you have any question, how are you, Stephen?
Thank you, sir. Great meditation. Very, very, very deep. I believe I've been embracing the self-inquiry for a while, and there's a realization as you started to talk today was a simple reference of the mind and all of that stuff is all takes place up in here, and it's like the process of the meditation as you take us from the start of meditation, which actually begins up here, and then you're driving us to our heart center, where that's sitting where peace and happiness always resides. So within my own self-inquiry is the realization that if something is happening in the mind, I feel it up here, and I could instantly take myself to my heart center where all of that goes away.
Yeah.
And so it's now learning how to apply that in every minute of every day. And then when you talk about self-awareness, it's really becoming aware of when the noise is taking place up here to get us back down into here. And it was just like, for me all weekend, it's been like that. And now you've actually been able to make me understand it even more of how to do that, how to get there, apply the basic principles of the Eastern wisdom and what we've learned, and just be here. And it's becoming easier and easier. And my meditation was extremely deep. So
Beautiful. Beautiful. Why we share the experiences, because each one gives the different expression and the realization. So understanding takes place here inside the forehead, but if the understanding remains here stuck, it do not descend down to the heart, it does not lead us to the realization. So understanding and the realization both are required. That is how beautifully you have given your interpretation. So you pick up anything, any interpretation, which should take you deeper and settle in yourself, and the life changes. Beautiful, thank you. And how are you, David and Jerry?
Thank you. Lesson and meditation were fabulous. The concept of where does delusion go is fascinating and was sort of the theme for my meditation. So, you know, where do our likes and dislikes go? Where does everything go? Which will leave lots of contemplation and reflection around that whole concept. By the time I got into Heart Center, it was just totally indigo color.
Very good, very good. Observe. Yes, you rightly mentioned, these likes and dislikes, they simply dissolve. You go to the kitchen, you simply say, I like a cup of coffee. You take it and finished. So that liking does not cause the emotional dependence. So there are two kinds of liking. One liking, I'm getting obsessed, and the other is nothing obsessed. Oh, okay, I like it, so if I get it, it's okay. If I don't like it, it's okay. That is the point of the wisdom. That's another way to present it. Beautiful. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good, thank you. The meditation was very deep, calm, equal breathing, uh, with a longer duration on the breathing. The mind was really just completely accepting with no resistance. It was interesting, that flow of the river, because I had that constant of the breath, and then the oming would be different, and it was kind of like that opposing flow. And so that mind just noticed that, and then just relating that to our day to day is that there's the mind just jumps or leaps right to accepting, no resistance.
Yeah.
And then how do we move forward with the knowledge?
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do we solve the problem? Like you say, if there's an issue or a problem, how do we understand and then move forward with it?
Yes, that is beautiful. First part is the 9 minutes we did it today, only of the chest breathing. So normally if we do it 9 minutes of all the three breathing, so it will be 27 minutes. Hope we will do one day. But yes, you see that when your mind, if you are able to persist with the 9 minutes, and I have seen a lot of people, their mind gets easily absorbed inside, and it has an ability to drop that delusion. But the knowledge and the practice should go together. I can even do 15 minutes of the breathing. The athletes and those people who do the jogging, they can do it. But without the knowledge, it does not make any change. We are relating it to the mind. Beautiful sharing. Thank you. How are you, Dennis?
Thank you. The lesson reminds me that constant self-examination is required. We have to examine our mind again and again. Is this thought required? Is this desire required? And this is probably what you meant on the previous lesson. I was contemplating about the phrase you said that the mind should jump in a fraction of a millisecond, and that is probably to prevent our habitual reactions and the desires and the thoughts that are just not required, that we can live without these. As far as the meditation, it was very deep and comfortable. And the one thing I noticed, that the chest breathing, the mind wanted at the end of this chest breathing, the flow became so clean, and so that all obstructions were removed, and the mind wanted to intensify, and it was naturally intensifying. The breathing was naturally intensifying.
Yeah, yeah. That is beautiful. What will happen, wherever you put the mind acquires a habit. So we are doing for 9 minutes, and the mind says, no, let me do it again. Let me do it more. So that's another healthy sign. That's a beautiful sign. Yes, contemplation all the time is required. Self-examination is required. The self-inquiry is required. We are human beings. We have to live consciously. So when I live consciously, there is a joy of conscious living. I think 10 years ago I wrote that article, Joy of Conscious Living. First is the living, second word is the conscious, and the joy comes on its own. So whether living, habitual living or animal living. Oh yes, yes, Terry. How are you?
I was thinking of the uh, it's like a journey. How so? Well, then I realized during the japa
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like a journey to the subtler level.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's all.
So when you move from the physical level, that is what I was explaining. I think your mind caught that uh, carefully. So we have to move from the physical, the lower physical level to the subtler level. And from the subtler level, we have to move to the higher level, which we call the spiritual level. So the subtler level belongs to the mind. So, but mind has to be educated. So, where you put the mantra all the time, either you say Om Shanti or Bhaj Govindam or all the time, it acts as a reminder. Sarve Sham, let everyone be happy. First you say this and then you talk to your mate.
Mhm.
Good. So, how are you, Samir?
Sir, today I think meditation was very. Today there were a lot of sensation in my body. Lot of it was like that. Some needles are piercing my
Yeah, yeah,
whole body, and it was. I think today it was very deep
yeah,
meditation. I don't know how it happened.
yeah, yeah.
It was like lot of sensation was going on in my body, and I was really. I was relaxed after meditation.
Yeah.
I was.
When we do this breathing almost for 9 minutes, so the mind almost loses identification with the body, and the result is the tingling sensation, tingling, numbness, freezing sensation, and we need not to worry. Definitely, you rightly said it's a deeper state of meditation that happens. How are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. Sir, practice was good. It was peaceful. There was an understanding that I was growing that uh, the challenges that I'm facing today, it was not there by birth, but the way I interacted with this world, it got created. So if I'm not living in the awareness, then it will create the delusion challenges.
Yes,
But
yes.
the more I live with awareness, those challenges as well as the delusion will drop automatically.
Beautifully said. This is what I always expect from each. You have your own interpretation. You simply share your experiences, and it comes. Since birth, I have one is perception of this entire world, and another is the projection. I need something, I expect something. So my perception of the world, which is right, now it has become false, and which creates a delusion. No, I'm just in a very lighter note. I'm saying just to explain the principle. You are watching Miss Universe, and they are doing, and Miss Universe is there. So now you simply perceive it. There is a right perception. This is an event, or you attach yourself with it. So that very attachment is causing the delusion. And then what happens after I cause? Now my mind falls into the delusion. It brings all the seven. This is what happens all the time. All the time. Why? Because the mind is not educated. One reason. Second is the mind. We are little above the animal mind. Only little above. We have to go much higher. So the delusion is gone. And Ashok, how are you, sir?
Namaste, sir.
Namaste, sir.
Sir, I am good and peaceful mind. And but sir, I have facing some issue regarding my blood pressure. I have no anxiety, but why the blood pressure is going high? I don't know. It was 200 by 120. I don't know why it is so high. I don't have any anxiety. Yeah, or I don't know what is anxiety. I don't know.
Ah, So first we have to get checked up by the doctor to see the report of the blood. And definitely if you don't have an anxiety and you have a higher blood pressure, so we will rule out some physical reasons. And if the physical reasons are not there, then there may be some deep mental and emotional reasons may be there. So get it checked, but relax more and more.
Yesterday I get it checked by the doctor,
Uh-huh.
and he did my echos and X-rays and one thing more. I forgot. Echos, X-ray, and ECG. So everything was okay. So he pointed out some tests also. I will go for that as well. So then I will let you know what is the issue.
Yeah, let us have all the investigation done. And
Okay.
if it is purely all the physical tests are equal, then obviously we can attribute that to some deeper layers of the mind is causing this, and then we have definitely a remedy for it.
Because when I met one that accident, so after that accident everything was okay. No blood pressure was there. But nowadays some activities are going on, or I don't know why. So blood pressure is high. I don't. So let us see. Yeah.
Calm down, calm down. Let us have all the investigation done, and then we will take care of it. So
Okay.
yes, next session we'll have the fourth realization. That is all for today. Thank you very much. We'll meet again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Namaste.